Welcome back. You're watching Your Story on the SABC News Channel. Now, an extended ANC NEC, led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, is today holding its National List Conference in Durban. The List Conference will consolidate the party's list of candidates for the National Assembly and also receive reports from party provincial structures on their lists for provincial legislatures. ANC alliance partners and leagues will also be attending. And joining us now is our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who's at the conference. Ayanda, thanks very much indeed for joining us. So has this conference now started?
Yeah, very good evening to you, Pete, and good evening to our viewers. The conference has indeed started. The ANC's NEC are locked in talks as we speak, and we expect it to be quite a lengthy process. They started about 2 hours or so ago, firstly addressed by the President of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa. All the proceedings that are taking place are closed to the media, so we were just given a very brief photo opportunity. And thereafter we did get a briefing from the Deputy Secretary General, Jesse Duarte, on the processes and what is expected, what the NEC is going to be discussing with regards to the list. And what we do know is that she did say that it is expected to be quite a very thorough and lengthy process for the ANC. They had nationally about 800 names, and from those they have to bring them down to about 400, and again trim it down to at least, they said, about 200. And from her explanation is that the first 100 names that would have been nominated from the branches. We must remember that it is a process. All the nominations started at a branch level, and so these are the branches, these are the members of the ANC who have nominated their preferred candidate who will then represent them in the parliaments, both in the provincial legislatures as well as the national parliament. So she said that of the 200, they will not make any changes to the first 100 names, but they are then going to the second 100 names. They're going to consider issues of experience. They're going to be looking at the gender, whether or not there is a representation of women. They will be looking at experience. They are going to also be looking, as we know, that the youth has also been saying that they want a representation of young people. So they're also going to be looking at a percentage of young people that are going to be also make it amongst those names that will be sent to the respective parliaments. But also, Peter, of course, you would know that one of the provinces that we've been waiting for a decision from the NEC is the Northwest Province, and we can say that the leaders or representatives from Northwest, we were told, are part of this list conference. Tomorrow, as we understand it, the ANC says that they've concluded in terms of dealing with the issues in the Northwest, and tomorrow the Northwest will be meeting its branches to then to submit their provincial names, but they are hopeful that the processes that are going to conclude in terms of what is happening here are not going to be affected. One of the questions that we did ask the Deputy Secretary General was, we know that there's been a number of challenges when the ANC takes decision in conferences like this. They are later challenged by courts. She said that she could not rule that out, but if they feel that they have dealt with the issue of the Northwest, and in terms of here, they mostly be focusing on the national list. Of course, the provinces will also be giving presentations from the provinces, but they don't feel that it could affect this national list conference. As I said, Peter, it's expected to last the entire, she said, quite some time. It probably would last throughout the night. They are here, of course, as you know, that the NEC is not only here for this list conference, but they are here in KwaZulu-Natal. As you know, from next week, the party is going to be hosting two major events, that being the January 8th statement, and then on Saturday, of course, the national election manifesto launch will be taking place here in Durban. So this is quite an important process, of course, that party leaders had to get through, so that from Sunday or Monday they then start to focus on these two very significant events that the party is going to be hosting here in KwaZulu-Natal. Peter.
Ayanda, so, you know, by their nature, list processes can be highly contested. And you gave us a hint when you talked about Northwest, but are there any other areas perhaps of possible tension that we need to take cognizance of?
Well, certainly. I mean, the DSG did say that there's robust discussions, and, she said that from every candidate they're going to be scrutinizing all the names that have been put forward. They are going to be scrutinizing those members. Of course, Peter, that the ANC has been on a path of renewal and has been saying that it wants to put credible leaders to represent the party, that it's been concerned about the image of the party. And we know in the past court decisions by the public protector, which has, in some say, put the party into disrepute. And this is one of the questions that we did ask her in terms of the system. Or what are they going to be? How are they going to be dealing with those leaders that have either had to be resigned from Parliament because of them have been found wanting? And she said that they're only specifically looking at whether or not a person has had a criminal record, but in terms of whether there's been any other issues that any of the leaders have faced or dealt with. They are not really, they will be discussing that. However, these are the names that have been submitted by the branches. So it is going to be quite interesting, Peter. And I think South Africans are eagerly awaiting to see which are the names that are going to make it on to the final list of the ANC. And so that is possibly going to take some time. Leaders inside saying that they're quite firm. They have the mandates from their branches, and they want to see people who are going to take the ANC forward, and they want to see credible leaders who are going to represent the ANC and represent the communities in which they come from.
All right, Ayanda, perhaps as a final question, a lot of debate and discussion taking place over the next couple of days. Have you been able to get a sense of the mood of the delegates ahead of all of these deliberations? What's it feeling like?
Well, we didn't really get much of an opportunity now, Peter, to speak. Just seeing some of them in the corridors of the hotel. They seem to be in high spirits, chatting amongst each other. And they did say that inside there's unity. Everybody is getting along, of course, but this process is important. But that I think once they concluded with this, there's a very important events that are going to be taking place here, Peter, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and they're quite amped and hyped up about these events. They want to try to get through this process as quickly as possible and conclude this national list conference so that they can then get on to the streets and continue, very importantly, for the parties to mobilize for these two events. A January 8th statement on Tuesday, and as you know that they've divided the events into the 11 respective regions here in KwaZulu-Natal. Both the NEC and the top 6 leaders are going to be going to the different regions, and then thereafter they have to then come back again for one final push, big mobilization, and that will be for the party's manifesto launch will be taking place on Saturday. So it's certainly going to be, it's a busy day today and night. We expect that it's going to last throughout the night for ANC leaders, but it's not going to be much rest for them, Peter, over the next coming couple of days. They've got quite a busy program here in KwaZulu-Natal.
Ayanda, we'll leave it there for the time being. Thanks very much indeed for that update. So that was our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who's at the National List Conference of the ANC.